4570 lever gunner here. I finally managed to get some reloading done last week. Took them out to the range and got some usable data out of it, but I learned a few things along the way of starting my reloading. One of the things I noticed I was lacking was how to actually set the bullet seating die for the right depth. And I learned a little bit how to do that. I think I might be fine-tuning the process over time. I was just going to kind of illustrate that because in all the videos I've seen, I didn't really see anybody talking about how to actually set that bullet seating depth. I'm also going to be talking about the improved powder measure kit. So the first thing I'm going to do is walk you through case prep. Now, in the case of this case, it's brand new brass. So a lot of the case prep I'm not going to be doing. I don't have to do flash hole cleaning or prep or anything like that. So really it's just going to be a matter of getting it ready by sizing it through the sizer. Because I have noticed, and I know this won't show up on the camera, so I'm not even going to bother trying. Almost every piece of brass I've gotten out of this Winchester bag has had a dent up towards the case mouth that in some cases is actually kind of significant. If I can, I'll take some pictures. This one's kind of bad. I'll take some still shots and throw them in between you so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. Which is why even with brand new brass, I'm having to do the sizing part of it. I just wanted to point something out. I know some of you may have noticed the Guinness can sitting over here, and you know, you'll hear a lot of people say, you know, you shouldn't be drinking when you're reloading, shouldn't have a TV on, because it really requires a lot of your attention and focus, because it's a precision type activity. You can't be, you know, making even little tiny mistakes can have devastating effects. So I just wanted to point out that this can is completely empty, and I just use it as a spent brass holder. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started here with the reloader kit. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put this brass in here to resize it to get any of those imperfections out. So here you're just going to use a non-marring hammer. This is not the same one you normally see people using, but it gets the job done. It smells like crap though, I'm not going to lie. So you just hammer the brass, and you can see it's kind of sticking out a little bit, and I'll hammer it in flat. So there it is. Now that's been sized, and then you just use your rod here to pull it back out. So that I can do a little bit of prep work on the neck, or the mouth I mean. A little chamfer, because I'm using lead bullets. So if I don't do that, I run a real good risk of shaving the bullets. So I'll just kind of deburr there. Same thing, make sure I get the sharp edges off of that. Okay, so now we got our priming chamber. I'm going to take one of my primers here, and then you put your brass back in here. Okay, and then you lay that down on top of the priming chamber, and you take your rod. That's actually what goes down inside the brass, and you just hammer it in until it's in. Now, I apologize for the noise that's making. Oh wow, that's perfect. You know, you want to just kind of run your finger across and make sure it's flat. You don't want to set it too deep, and you don't want it sticking out anywhere. All right, so now I'm going to be using Unique for this. You know, I bought these improved Lee powder measures that I did not realize when I ordered them that they deal in volume, not weight. So they deal in cubic centimeters, cc's. It makes sense the second I thought about it that, well, not every powder is going to measure the same. So, you know, 16 grains of Unique is not the same as 16 grains of 3031 because it's just going to sit differently. So it's going to take up more space or less space. So what you end up having to do, so you line up Unique. I know that I'm going to be doing an 11 grain charge of powder. Well, I don't want to use the 1.3 cc dipper because that's too much. So I'm going to be using the 1 cc dipper at 9.2 grains, and then I'm basically going to be trickling my charge to get up to 11 grains. So I'll turn my scale on. We just calibrated it off camera a minute ago. So now what you do is you put your tray on there, and your tray comes in. I thought it was 130.4, but okay. And then you hit tare so that it knows that that's the weight of that. And now you get your powder, and then you dump. Okay, well, so clearly we're nowhere near our 11 grain charge, so we'll go ahead and kind of trickle in to an 11 grain charge. Oh, okay. So we're showing 11.3, 11.2, it keeps bouncing. So we'll shake it, set it back on there, 11.3. So now I'll just kind of drop a little bit out. Couple of granules, and then remeasure. 11.1. I think we got a pretty good measurement here. As you saw, I just went back to 11. So now take our funnel, set it over top, drop our charge. Okay. So now take out one of these bullets. These are 350 grain, like I said earlier. Now I'll put the, I don't even know what you call this thing, because it's such a multiple use tool, excuse me. Set that over top, and now here's the part that really didn't have a whole lot of information about it out there on YouTube or anywhere else really. How to set the bullet depth. What's going to happen is I'm just going to drop the bullet in there. I'm going to be using this I'm going to hammer on top of here, and the bullet's basically going to be pushed down like that into the brass. Now, because this tool, this piece here, gets used for so many different things, I found that I kept, as I would grab it, I would twist it or something, and just, I was never able to keep it consistent. So I'm still kind of working out a way to do that. So what I've been doing is I kind of overdo it. I overextend it so that I'm nowhere near the correct bullet seating depth. I'm trying to figure out a good way to set this thing so, that I'm not having to spend, the first time I seat the bullet, I end up spending so long, tightening it down, and I'm still in the learning phase of how much to twist based on how much further I have to seat the bullet. But what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to turn it quite a bit away, pulling it out. We'll set it down. We'll set the bullet down in there. Usually the bullets kind of drop. That one's not dropping too well. I have to put a little bit of pressure on it. So then we'll set this on, and you can see quite a big gap there. And when it's completely seated properly, this piece right here will be laying right against here. So we'll just hammer it. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to measure. Now, for these we should be measuring at 2.530. I have a feeling that's going to be really close, actually. 2.570 really is. This is where the painstaking process comes in with this setup. I'm going to put it back down in there, and I know that I'm at 2570 and I need to go to 2530. I don't know how to get it, how much to turn it to get it down to that number. So it's really kind of a guessing game for me at this point. So out of fear of overdoing it, I'm always underdoing it, I feel like. So I'll just do it just about almost a full turn right there, and then we'll do it again. Okay, pull it out, and then we'll check it again. So now I'm going to go ahead and twist that again, probably just about the same amount. So that should get us pretty close to 2530. Okay, we'll measure it again. Wow. 2540. Oh, as soon as I straightened her out. Okay, so we're much closer this time. So now, I'll go just a little tiny bit. This is where it starts getting pretty painstaking. Is unfortunately, once I get this setting dialed in, I can't trust throughout all the other stuff I'm using this piece for that it's maintaining that same distance. So what happens is every single round I make, I'm redoing that. Okay, so far it looks like that didn't move at all. Or if anything, it got worse. That's impossible. Okay, we're getting a little bit closer. And this is definitely not the most quiet method of reloading, that's for sure. A nice Dillon would be much quieter. Oh, see, now that's not great. Oh, hold on. I wasn't seeing it. 2530. Okay, it keeps bouncing back and forth between those two, but that is now, I would consider to be a good seated bullet. Now that we've got a properly seated bullet, we got to do the crimp. This is going in a lever gun, so crimp is kind of important. And that really is kind of a guessing game for me right now. I just kind of lightly tapped in a little circle with all the other ones I did. And then I mean, that looks good to me. Maybe a little bit over crimped. Maybe just a little bit, but that looks pretty good. I think I had a couple that were more off than 2531, and I had absolutely zero failures to feed, no failures to fire. Everything worked flawless. That is how you reload with a Lee loader kit for 4570 with the minutiae of setting the bullet seating depth. So right now I can reasonably assume that this is an accurate measurement, but I don't know how to stop. I think I just figured it out. Are you effing kidding me? Did I seriously just now figure that out? Yeah, I did. In that last video, I thought maybe I'd figured out how to use this properly, keep the seating depth measurement from falling out of place. I just wasn't tightening this piece to the lock ring here. So it kept moving freely, and I didn't realize that I could tighten it. So when I tightened it to where it was sitting before, which ended up being too far. So this round I didn't even bother crimping because the bullet is seated way too deep, and I do not have a bullet puller yet, so it's sitting in this bag as one that will not be shot. So then I forgot to bell the case mouth of my next round, and when you don't bell the mouth, you shear it. So that one's definitely getting pulled, and that is a wasted piece of brass. I'm not even going to attempt to try to fix that, even if there is a way. I don't think there is, but so lesson learned. Like I said at the beginning, you must have your undivided attention in this. Otherwise you end up with mistakes like that.